I'm going to do the best I can to explain what I know. I know that Garmin is an EMF source, and they use it to manipulate your dreams, and they combine it with a microwave or a 5G source. And what they do is they track you with a different device, something that's a little more precise, and it's called ultrasound. And they use a hummingbird fish finder for that. Okay, this is the hummingbird fish finder, and they tag you with this thing. So once you're tagged, they know where you are, and the satellite stays on you 24/7. If they select you as a point of interest, then that satellite is going to track that point of interest. Once this device here, the hummingbird, is in close proximity to an EMF source, which is the Garmin fish finder, it transfers the EMF energy from this position to your position. And that's the best way I can explain it. All the energies within this area is transferred to your area. Now, as you notice, this one right here is showing north, straight up, maybe to the left, and there's your bearing, almost north. And this one here is showing dead north, and it's not moving. Now, if someone else has a fish finder and they put it on your coordinates where you're at, by design they will interact as the same device. So, see the person on the left? That's a V2K person. He's doing what he does. Okay, so I'm V2K, so I know my stalkers, and I know who they are, and I've come to realize that through the 2.5 years, whenever I tell someone to turn left and do a circle, and the fish finder does a circle in the same direction, I understand what's going on and what device they're using, because I have more than one device now. You can lock that device to your device, and you can actually see there's more than one device on me at this time. The one on the right, I don't think there's anybody on it, because it's pretty much true, because I'm not moving, and it does drift. It will drift 25, 30 feet, depends on how windy it is, because the EMF, it drifts with the air. So it's just like anything else in the air, like smoke. But the ultrasound is a lot more precise. So that's why they pinpoint with one device, and then they transfer the EMF with another device. These devices aren't expensive, and you can get them at Walmart, and that's why there's so many targeted people, is because the devices are easy to get a hold of. Okay, this one says I'm facing south now, and this one's still saying true to north. So I have this person locked in on this one, and I'm not going to tell you how to do that, but I've known who my attackers are. I've had police come to my house, and after they leave, I've had more of these waypoints on my house. And so when I delete them and someone else looks at my house, if my device is on, I will capture their waypoints onto my device, because it's called data sharing, and that's the way it works. Now, when I first got attacked, my attackers were Blood Gang, and they would flash, gang signs, which were numbers. Okay, these numbers are waypoints. Each of these little flags right here represent an area with, say, a coordinates to it. I'm not going to show you my coordinates, but these numbers are the numbers that they were flashing, so that way they know who they are, and they can communicate with V2K without anybody else eavesdropping in, or that's what they believe anyway. Now, it does have a zoom function on here where you can zoom in and out, and essentially all this is doing is bringing you up or down onto your coordinates, so that way your voice will get farther away the higher you get, and louder the closer you get. So they are able to tag you and speak to you and mess with your head through these devices. I've been tagged so hard that 2 years that this person lived above me, and I don't think my VTK is ever going to go away. But normal people that have not been tagged so hard, they can, say, tag you in your stomach and you won't hear them, and then whenever they decide they want to listen to you or see what you're doing, they'll move this tag, or they will zoom up, or they will offset their device by 3 feet, and it moves it from your stomach to your head. What they can do is assign these waypoints to people. Okay, because not two people don't occupy the same area most of the time. And these satellite companies, Garmin, to name the one in particular, is allowing this to happen. Now, if you go to Google and you put in Google Maps and you look up an area in your town, like say your corner grocery store or whatever, it's going to have 2 points. It's going to have one coordinates for one satellite, and then at the bottom it's going to have another coordinates for another satellite system. The top one would be your hummingbird coordinates, and it's pretty much dead on. I mean, that ultrasound doesn't really sway with the wind, okay? And the bottom coordinates, which is the Garmin satellite, it does sway. Like I said, 25, 30 feet, depends on how windy it is. But what I've noticed with Garmin, and I will do the insert in a minute, Google has changed the waypoints or the coordinates that it lists for areas that are not true. So what I did to find this out, they are squeezing the numbers together. Okay. I'll show you the example. If I took the post office, for example, and I'll go look at the post office on Google Maps, the hummingbird number, the top number for that satellite, it'll be dead on. But because they know people are using the EMF, they have changed the coordinates. And that's shown in this next Garmin device. I was mentioning how they squeeze the waypoints for Garmin. All these little squares or waypoints, essentially they're intersections in my city, in my neighborhood. And as you can see, there's a big empty spot. It looks like an X, okay? This big empty spot is where they have squeezed these waypoints together to leave a void area. I live in that void area. This little spot in the middle, that's where I'm at, okay? But all these waypoints are squeezed north and south and east and west, leaving a big intersection that goes through town where the post office is, RVS Bank, a couple of schools, and like a courthouse. Everything that's important is kind of in this no area. So now you can't go to Google and punch in the coordinates for the Garmin system because the number is displayed incorrectly. And what I've noticed is that they are now reserving these numbers or assigning these numbers to people. I'll have, like I said, when the police came to my house and left, I had new coordinates on my device because that policeman had coordinates already on his, and whenever he put it on my house, it shared data, and then I have his coordinates in my device. And essentially that's another reason why this COVID symptom isn't going anywhere, because we just keep passing this map around, and it brings us back to Where's Waldo and Dory looking for the map, because that's just how the game goes, okay? And the next section is where my camera picked up. Hey, I'm back again. I just wanted to do another short video of the Garmin. Like I mentioned before, what I did is I went through my town, my neighborhood actually, and I went through the Google Maps and the intersections. Like I said, if you don't watch these videos in order, then it's going to take a little bit for it to make sense. But I went through and looked at the waypoints, the coordinates on Google Maps. And like I said, there's two listings. One's for the Hummingbird and one is for the Garmin. And the maps for the Garmin do not coordinate with the maps on the device. And because they were off, I thought, let's go through and check a couple. Okay. And I discovered my neighborhood, this is my house right here. That's me. They squeeze all the waypoints out a little bit to the north or to the east or to the west, and they left a big blank area through my neighborhood, and it goes through my town, which includes a post office, RS Bank, a school, and so forth. And like I said, what it's doing is they're assigning these waypoints to persons or persons of interest, and they're keeping all the waypoints separated with another EMF source. That way we don't intercept each other by accident. And I went through and put down every intersection in my neighborhood and see how they're all squeezed together, leaving this big empty spot right here open. Well, like I said, the police came to my house on a call, and unfortunately they weren't of any service. But what I did do is I intercepted a lot of new points on this device. This device is we'll put it out there, it's a striker, okay? And I've got a lot of new points on here after he left. So Dora got the map, okay? And in my town, I've got a lot of new places on here that I didn't put in here. There's a lot of waypoints on here that I didn't put in. When I first started this, I had to delete them off my house, and I thought maybe the V2K would go away when that happened, but it didn't. And so when the police left my house, I had all these new waypoints, and I was interested in why the police are using these waypoints. Well, I got rid of them, and of course, I guess one came back because they keep looking at me. Well, I'm going to put a list of these waypoints for December on my list. So if you got an interest in me and you look at me with your fish finder, I'm gonna capture your map because I know how to do that. Once they put you in a route, they can select you just by going up or down. And there's a lot of waypoints on here that I didn't put. Again, see how I went through my neighborhood, and I drove through my neighborhood just to kind of get an idea of who's who, and I put these little circles on the intersections. And it helped me figure things out. I suggest maybe you do that in your neighborhood to find out if there's anybody adding points, or if there's even any points on your house. Now, all these gray points right here, I'll call them the grays, because some of the family members on my block, last name are Grays, and they lived in 3 different houses on my block. That's why I call them the Grays. And like I said, all these little gray ones, I didn't put in, and they keep coming back. And so if each one of these gray dots has a fish finder, that means these points are never going to get erased. I mean, they just pass them like a virus from one person to another person, and they never really get deleted. And that would assume for why you really can't get out of the program. And of course, there's ops in here that basically the people that turn me on were their ops. I call them professionals because they are heavy set. Most of mine are black. Half of mine are women, and they don't talk. They don't move. They catfish. They just sit there and listen, and they'll write your passwords down. They'll ghost you, or I call it shadowing. They'll shadow you so that way another person in the room can target you. And basically shadowing is they mimic your movements so that way they can stay in link remote neural link with you.